Hey, this is Aaron, the Metal Theologian. Alright, it feels like it's been forever. It's only been like a week or something. It feels like it's been a fucking long time. Anyway, today I'm going to do some, going back to the metal here. I've been kind of deep in the jazz land, although it's funny because, you know, I don't really listen to any death metal anymore. I went through a phase where I listened to a lot of death metal, you know, like Morbid Angel and fucking shit like that. But, you know, it's funny, I almost never listen to death metal, but about once a year I come back to Deicide in a big way. For some reason, that's the one band that I still just absolutely love. And I don't listen to them all that often, really, but when I do, I sit down and listen to, like, all their fucking records in a row. So it's weird, I've been on this big fucking kick. And, yeah. I was actually going to put on Once Upon the Cross, but, I listened to it last night instead because I didn't do the video, and it's just as well because that record's only like a half hour long. And like, I was thinking about it fucking going, shit, I don't know if I can control my rambling, like keep it down to less than like 15 minutes or whatever one side of that would be. Although on that note, I forgot to start my fucking record anyway, so I'm gonna go do that. I've actually listened to that Solidarity Unit record that I got at Cabin Floor Records. I showed that not too long ago, so I don't know how much of it comes through, but that's the way it is. So anyway, today, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about new wave of British heavy metal records, and this is sort of a semi-request, really more of a suggestion from Scout Waters, but just since I said before that I take requests, hey. So I'm probably going to do 3 parts eventually, because I want to show some of the LPs, and going through I have a lot more than I thought. I always tend to be kind of talk down the whole, like, you know, NWOBHM LPs, because I think most of their best shit was on singles, but I found a lot of stuff that was really good that I'm just going to have to show, and then, I don't know, I'll probably do a video or 2 on 45, so that's really where I have most of it. I did one on comps a long time ago. You can check that out if you want. I'm not going to redo that. But today I actually pulled out 12 inches and EPs. That's what I'm going to go through. And kind of not, you know, the ones that are sort of lesser known, I'll try to talk about in a little bit more detail. The ones that are better known, I'll kind of either do sort of a token entry type thing, talk about the specific record I picked a little bit maybe, and just go from there. I mean, the fact is, if you don't already know Iron Maiden, then you're probably not watching this video in the first fucking place. So, of course, I like to listen to other people talk about Iron Maiden, and when I did a fucking Iron Maiden video, it got more views than just about anything else, so go figure. I figure everything would have already been said, especially since I don't even have anything after, like, the late 80s. Anyway, though, I'm thirsty. And what I'm drinking today is New Grape Soda. Shit. There we go. Look at that logo. It's pretty good. And it says the taste you can't forget. I kind of wonder if that's just because it makes your fucking tongue turn blue. But I guess there's only one way to find that out, right? This will be Orca Beverage Soda Works. And their area code is 425, which I could have sworn was Seattle area. Or like, you know, Washington State. But it says bottled with the authority of the North American Beverages in Waco, Texas. So I don't really know exactly where this is from, but I was just saying, I guess we'll find out, but I'm not going to be able to tell that from tasting it. I'm not that fucking good. You know, for all my shit talk about northern versus southern sodas, I wouldn't even be able to tell you if it's a fucking, you know, northern or southern soda by drinking it. I can tell you if it's good or not. It smells really grapey. It's really good. It's like, you know, it's like classic sort of grape taste, you know. It doesn't taste like real grapes. It kind of has that artificial grape thing, which is more like real grapes than artificial banana is like real bananas, in fairness. I mean, artificial banana is sort of a category by itself as far as, like, having a name that doesn't actually, like, give any indication as to the flavor that it actually bears. But, I don't know, man. It's just like a good fucking classic grape soda. It's like what you want when you drink one of those Welch's sodas. Not that those things are bad. I've got no beef with that shit. But you know, it's got real sugar. It's a good soda, man. It's a really tasty Grape soda, I really got nothing to say beyond that. So I was going to go alphabetically with these guys, but since I put them down backwards, because my records go like this way, if you're looking at them, like, fuck. Anyway, they go from left to right. So you have to do this, left to right. So anyway, I'm just going to start at the end of the alphabet and go backwards, which means we're starting with the Soviet Invasion 12-inch by Witchfinder General. I don't really have a whole lot to say about Witchfinder General, except they're fucking great. It's definitely kind of a Sabbath ripoff band. You know, of all the bands that kind of sound like this, their singer, Zebe Parks, probably sounds more like Ozzy than most of these guys. This one has 3 songs on it, Soviet Invasion, Rabies, and R.I.P. And Rabies was actually on Heavy Metal Heroes, and R.I.P. was on the album. This is a live version, excuse me, which I'm actually pretty sure is fake. By the way, that little burp that's dedicated to Nate, because he was doing the same thing when he was doing the soda in his video. So anyway, so this is the Soviet Invasion 12-inch on Heavy Metal Records. Classic label there. They put out a lot of clunkers, honestly, but first of all, they're called Heavy Metal Records. You can't fucking argue with that. Here's another one that kind of counts as a lesser known one, but did get a song on that comp that Lars Ulrich put out, you know, a while back. This is Weapon, and it's the It's a Mad Mad World 12-inch, and there was actually a 7-inch version of this. The B-side is Set the Stage Alight, which really probably is the better song, although It's a Mad Mad World there's nothing wrong with. It's it's funny, I feel like I'm already running out of adjectives, but it's too relatively raw, just like sort of early kind of, sort of punky, but not as punky as some of the stuff, as far as the, you know, heavy metal sound goes. You can hear that the metal sound was still developing, you know, probably comparable to like, you know, Fist or a band of about that caliber, although, their singer's better than Keith Satchfield, technically. Okay, this is kind of a classic. It's actually one of 2 12-inches I have by Venom. This is a Warhead 12-inch, and this is on Neat, and actually I think this is on some kind of colored vinyl. It has the lyrics on the back, so you can sing along. Actually, though, it's just Lady Lust and the 7 Gates of Hell, so I guess you have to figure out the lyrics to Warhead yourself. I don't know. Kronos knows them. They did it when I saw them live. It's a good record, actually. I like this one a lot. I mean, Warhead is kind of a classic anyway, but no, it's just plain old black vinyl. It does have that custom label, which is a little bit cool, but it's not even such a great custom label. I actually like the Neat label better, which, there you go. Yes, I listened to some of these again when I was getting ready to do this video, and 7 Gates of Hell, the song, honestly, sounds kind of like what I wish At War with Satan sounded like. Like, it's kind of epic, but it still has the riffs. It doesn't seem to rely quite as heavily on Kronos' couplets, which really do get kind of samey. Like, the way he writes a verse, like, it's all da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? In a dream or nightmare where love gives way to hate, the quest begins for the keys to the 7 gates. I'm not really doing the rhythm right, but it was like the sort of classic Kronos style, and it doesn't really sort of fall into that lilt the way At War with Satan does, and it also doesn't drag on for 20 minutes. That's really, I mean, I can listen to that and get a kick out of it, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's fucking Venom, right? And it's fucking Venom being epic, which is kind of entertaining, but it's kind of corny too, and they're kind of in over their heads with all that shit, so. This is the Titan Blind Men and Fools 12-inch. Which is 3 songs. There was a 7-inch version, if I'm not mistaken. It had 2 songs on it. And this is kind of notable for it being Kevin Riddles' band, who was ex-Angel Witch. Now this has Blind Men and Fools, the Ballad of Edward Case. I almost said Edgar Casey. Go figure. Why the fuck do I have Edgar Casey on the mind? And then Sad Man. You know, the songs on this are really heavy. It kind of has a little bit of a sound like it's heading in that sort of epic metal direction that I'm really partial to, but it's nowhere near as sophisticated as that. Like, I don't want to make it sound like there's, like, you know, the British Tyrant, let alone like Manowar or something like that, with like the really sort of the meat of those kinds of bands. But it's really good stuff. You know what really brings this record down, though? It brings it down a whole fucking point in my estimation, from about a 7 out of 10 to about a 6. Is this fucking corny ass break in the about 2/3 of the way through the Ballad of Edward Case, where they do this thing where they stop and they like sing this like bar song like a cappella, like this little jokey like interlude in the middle. And let me give you some advice if you're in a band and you're going, hey, you know something, fucking the fans will think that we're a bunch of good blokes if we fucking put some like corny bar song in one of our songs. If you're thinking about doing that, don't fucking do it, because it always sucks and it brings down your record and it's fucking annoying. So just don't fucking do it. There's so many good records that got spoiled by shit like that, and that's one of them. I was really bummed when I heard that, in case it's not obvious from my attitude. Because it's like really good, and they throw this stupid piece of horse shit in the middle, and you're like, dude, what were you thinking, man? Especially if you're only going to put out one EP in your career. Actually, they made an album later, I just don't have it. And what I've heard off that album is good too, so maybe I'll show that someday. This one's kind of a one-off here. I just happened to have this. I came across it cheap in the wild. It's Tigers of Pantang, Don't Stop By. And Don't Stop By was kind of, you know, it's not a bad song. It's definitely not sort of the heft that they had anymore on their first album with, you know, the Wildcat record. But I gotta say, side 2 is Slave to Freedom and Raised on Rock. That's like pure new wave sound there. That's like awesome, just like rockin'. You know, I don't know if it's real or not, but it sounds like it might as well. But it doesn't sound as real as the Holocaust live shit, right? But it just sounds like fucking balls out, to the point, like early heavy metal. It's really 2 killer tracks by that record. That was a pleasant surprise, because I wasn't expecting a lot. This is kind of a tougher one to find here. This is the Traitor's Gate, Devil Takes the High Road 12-inch. There's actually, I pull out the fucking label. I don't know if you can even see it. It has the lyrics on the back, because God knows you need the lyrics, right? And just a plain label. This is here's the truth. I hadn't listened to this in a long time until I was getting ready to make this video, and I remembered liking it a lot more than I actually did. I mean, that cover is promising, right? It's all cheesy and shit. Kind of a stupid concept thing. So you get it because like it's the devil on the taking the high road because it's like high up in the air, ha ha ha, you know. But I don't know, man. It just looks so low budget and private. I mean, I'm just a sucker for this sort of thing. But it's a little more ordinary than I remembered it being. Shoot to Kill is a rockin' song. It says the devil takes the high road. Live After Midnight, there's nothing wrong with either. It's very good, but it sounds rough around the edges. And sometimes rough around the edges just sound great, you know what I mean? Like you take like the first Crucifixion single, that thing's rough as fuck, but that's what makes it perfect, you know? This one just sounds like, not so much that you should have rehearsed more as much as maybe they should have looked at the songwriting a little bit more closely. But I don't know, man, I feel like I'm talking more shit about than it deserves, because it's a very good record, and it's an awesome piece. And if you don't have it, you might want to get the reissue that I think, Buried by Time and Dust did a reissue, and it's a label you ought to support anyway. So then I just lucked into. You'd be surprised how many of these I found in the wild, actually. It's the Crash Bang Wallop EP by Raven, which according to the back was leftovers from Wiped Out. Actually, it doesn't say leftovers from the record. It says they ran out of vinyl, which is kind of a funny way to put it. This is on some weird colored vinyl. Just want to bust this out. So obviously it's on meat, but look at that color. Look, and you can see me in the reflection. It's like a fucking hall of mirrors of me. Just trying to focus so you can see the words there. Whatever, you can see the goddamn Raven logo and you can see the color, so. This is awesome. Just prime era Raven. You know what to expect. Actually, one of these songs is from Wiped Out, Firepower. But the other 3, to the best of my knowledge, are exclusive. And, it's a little bit cheesy. Some of the notes on here are kind of corny in that Ravenish kind of way. But, man, Raven is just fucking balls out, man. You can't argue with Raven. Happy to say I saw them live once. And I might have told the story in an earlier video, but when I saw them live, they played like in California, bars have to close at 2 in the morning. They played right up till 2. Like the guys, like the owners, were standing around the edges, like waving at them, like get off the stage. They have time to empty up, but they played right up until 2 o'clock, and they like threw everybody out real fast. I still wanted to get a T-shirt. I had to like wait around and like get someone to go and get me a shirt because at like fucking 2:30 or 3 in the morning. It's kind of ridiculous. Alright, this is Quartz, Satan's Serenade, and I'm going to give a second little bit of advice, okay, to aspiring bands out there, to put right next to the one about doing corny-ass bar songs. If you're going to put out a 12-inch, especially if you're going to put 2 awesome songs on it, like fucking Satan's Serenade and Bloody Fool, don't put a fucking guitar solo for side B. And if you have to do a guitar solo, if you absolutely have to do a guitar solo, don't make it an excerpt from Roll Over Beethoven. What the fuck, man? Why would you do that? This record's so good. Quartz, honestly, was a band that took me a long while to get into. I like this one right away. I think the fact that it's only 2 real songs, it's blue vinyl on the logo label, I think the fact that it's only 2 songs doesn't hurt, because it's kind of comes and goes and, you know, punches you without overstaying its welcome, you know? I mean, I think that's why a lot of my favorite records are EPs. So it kind of took me a while, but after a while I've really come to sort of love and appreciate Stand Up and Fight. Still kind of working on some of the other ones, though. The only other one I actually own is the live record. This thing is kind of mediocre. I don't know though, man. This record just has the heft that you want. The kind of sort of a 70s vibe a little bit, a lot more than a lot of these bands. So, yeah, actually, I recommend this record really highly, even though I talk shit about that Roll Over Beethoven, and deservedly, man. I mean, why the fuck would you do a fucking... I mean, it says, Mick Hopkins guitar solo, Roll Over Beethoven. It's like, man, it's like the solos at the beginning. It's like, why would you do that unless you're Eddie Van Halen or Yngwie Malmsteen? If you're one of those guys, you're already a fucking chode, so you might as well do it, but Jesus. Alright, here's another one that looks cooler than it is. It's the Phoenix Rising EP. And this is about 4 songs, nowhere near as good as the Quartz record. I feel like I'm really hard on these records today, but you know something? I like all these records. Just to be clear. You know, this one isn't on special vinyl, so I'm not going to bother taking it out. It's a private press, though. It's decent. This one, it doesn't have a lot of peaks and valleys, just kind of plateaus. And, it's okay. It's not the greatest thing ever. It's, I mean, really, it's probably about a 5 out of 10. You know, it's perfectly listenable. It's, and you know something, by the way, I've been making jokes lately about ripping on Martin Popoff. One thing of Popoff's that I really have taken is the 1 to 10 rating system, which I don't use a lot, but when I do, I really believe in like a 7 is a perfectly enjoyable record. You know, like a 7 is what I'm looking for. If I buy a record and it's a 7, I'm happy. You know what I mean? If it's an 8, 9, or 10, obviously that's even better. A 5, though, is like right in the middle there. 7 is like really good. 5 is fine, you know, but it doesn't reach that sort of 7 standard that I'm always kind of hoping for in my head. Now this one, this goes all the way to the fucking top. I love this fucking record. There's the Parallettes EP. It's 3 songs. It's actually on, I'll show the back there too. I guess there were some versions that just had a sticker on them. This is it's 3 songs: Traveling Man, Black Widow, and then White Lightning. And this is actually on green vinyl. Can you see it when they're taking it out? Yeah. On the Reddington's Rare label. It was actually one of the first new wave of British heavy metal records that I got. That's not quite true. I had some earlier, but it was one of the first ones I sort of consciously bought when I was trying to like educate myself in that whole era. Anyway, you know I was saying before that like there's a certain sort of amateurishness which is just like perfect, and I use Crucifixion as an example. This is an even better example. First of all, except maybe for that first single, they sound more amateurish than Crucifixion did, like on their second 7-inch or their 12-inch that I'm going to show in a bit. But they were also better, man. The song was just fucking great. They're rehearsed just to the point where they fucking rock, but they still sound fresh and like, you know, hungry. And I mean, Jesus, look at that cover. Fucking winner across the board, that record. That's one of my favorite things ever. Here comes another one. It's a classic. Another one I lucked into in the wild with this cover. This is the Mithril record, and this is the only thing they put out. It came out in a few different versions. There's a 7-inch version with a single, and there was a 7-inch that was actually on Guardian. This one's on Street Beat. There's a 7-inch that also had all 4 songs on it, but the 7-inch on Street Beat that had the cover was missing one of the songs. It was one of the songs I liked too. It's Death and Destiny EP. In fact, if they had left off Death and Destiny, that probably would have been the best choice. Killer, UFO, and I want to say the other song was one that got left off. I don't remember what it was. Overlord. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one that got left off the 7-inch, but I could be wrong. Anyway, this is a fucking rocker of a record. It's a lot more professional sounding than a lot of these things. It's 79, 80-ish, and they just sound like a band that was ready for prime time. I don't know, I'm trying to think of another comparison point. It's kind of hard. I mean, they're really about halfway between where Def Leppard was, being relatively, maybe not soft at that point in time, but not the heaviest thing. They're about halfway between there and Iron Maiden, but towards the Iron Maiden end of the spectrum. But even so, you're talking early Def Leppard, you're talking early Iron Maiden, you're talking about a spectrum like this, not like the spectrum like this, where it was by 87 or whatever. So, very good record. Every song on that record's really good. And speaking of Iron Maiden, I'm pretty sure I've shown this before. This is going to be a quickie, but fuck. This is the Sanctuary 12-inch, which is 4 tracks, including 2 live tracks. It's a Sanctuary, Prowler, and then Drifter, and I've Got the Fire. And there's a picture of him posing probably in Madame Tussauds wax museum with that fucking corpse behind him. Awesome record. And I fucking out-talked my background music too, so I don't know, we'll see. I'll try and plow through it here. So this is the Holocaust Heavy Metal Mania record. This is another one that's like just the right level of amateurish. I mean, that's kind of how Holocaust was anyway on their classic stuff. Now, personally, I really like the Sound of Souls, which was like 87, I want to say. That was a weird record. It didn't sound anything like the early ones. I like a drum machine for one thing, but it was like this sort of high concept record too. It was kind of a trippy thing, but yeah, but those early ones, man, for just like straight up balls out rockers, man, you can't beat it. And Heavy Metal Mania, fucking perfect. This was actually, I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like Louise got this from, or Mark J got this from Louise with a couple hearts. I gotta say, this is a hell of a present, although I got this for 50 cents at the Daystar Boutique in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, fucking just awesome shit, man. Early Holocaust, just smoking. It's like what I wish punk sounded like. Which, I don't know, I guess I could say that about all metal. Or I suppose I could say that about jazz, too. If punk sounded like jazz, I'd probably like punk a lot more, too, so. I don't know. I guess that's just like my tautology of the day or something. Here's one that has kind of a bad reputation, and it deserves it. It looks cool. It starts off pretty okay too. The song "Water of Vice" is pretty good. The rest of it is really Keep on Telling Those Lies. I mean, even fucking songs. This is late too. This is '84, so I don't even know if this really counts as new wave British heavy metal anymore. But you'll see it on the lists and that. Yeah. Keep on Telling Those Lies. Fucking Fever of Love. Watch Me Grow. What a dumb fucking title that is. It's like, I don't know, like it's his dick singing or something. Water of Vice, though, is a pretty good rocker on this one. It's not really very expensive, because I think people know that it's not really all that. I mean, the other songs really could have been like, they could have been like heavy, like After the Fire songs or something, or maybe like Bryan Adams. I mean, it's not that bad. It's listenable, but let's put it this way: if it's a choice between Journey and Heretic, I'd probably rather listen to Heretic because it's not as overplayed. I'd much rather listen to Watch Me Grow than Don't Stop Believin'. But as far as like heaviness, kind of a toss-up. So it's another one. I should show this in my very first video. This is the Diamond Head 4 Cuts 12-inch. Call Me, Trick or Treat, Dead Reckoning, Shoot Out the Lights. Every song a classic. Every song a winner, especially Shoot Out the Lights. which I hope to find a 7-inch of one of these days. It's fucking good shit, man. What can I say about Diamond Head? I still like the LP better. That's what I can say about Diamond Head. That LP, I mean, I always like to buck the herd, which is why I'll do shit like come on here and crack on Eddie Van Halen like that, and make jokes about his tongue and do dickhead shit like that. But the fact is, man, that Diamond Head, the White Album, is just fucking great. I mean, I've listened to it 500 times, and I could still listen. I could fucking listen to it right now. In fact, I would, except it would take me too long to find the fucking thing, and I don't know how to pause this piece of shit. So here's another one. It's this is the Damascus EP. It's a 4-track. This one's actually at the Private Press, if you can see that, and it's actually signed by the bass player. Just sort of coincidentally, there you go, Kev Duncalf, I think his name is. Yeah, unless that says Rev. Open Your Eyes, he wrote on it too. Now, I can't guarantee the provenance of that signature because I wasn't there, but I don't know. I don't really go around writing Kev Duncalf on my records, so. Anyway, it's 4 songs. Open Your Eyes is on some bootleg compilations, so you might have heard that. It's probably about equally heavy to like early Def Leppard. A little bit more high concept. A little bit more epic as far as the writing, if not the execution, but relatively light, but very enjoyable. You know, another thing I might compare it to is the Dragonfly EP. I think Dragonfly is probably a little heavier than Damascus. Actually, Dragonfly is definitely a little heavier than Damascus, but they're sort of comparable as far as the wavelength they were on. Okay, here's another one I mentioned earlier. This is the last record by Crucifixion. This is the Green Eyes 12-inch. And it's their weakest record of the 3 that they did, but that doesn't mean it isn't still a very enjoyable record. In fact, the title track, well, it's sort of set, well, yeah, because it does say Green Eyes there. You can see that shit. It's an awesome cover, by the way. That's pretty much worth the price of it right there. And it's on Neat. Green Eyes, though, is probably the weakest song of the 3. Jailbait and Moon Rising are pretty much balls out. They're not as heavy as the earlier single they did on Neat, but they're perfectly respectable. Green Eyes is kind of a little bit more meandering, and it's hard to explain why. It's really kind of just more in feel. It's not like it goes off into La La Land with too many riffs or any shit like that, like the Kraken 7-inch or anything like that. It just kind of doesn't feel as focused, but it's a good record, and that was actually the first Crucifixion record I got, which was kind of good because I got to build. They got better and better, but it's a very cool piece, and kind of an underrated band, I think, actually. Crucifixion was a fucking bang-up band, and they just don't get talked about very much, so. Cloven Hoof, on the other hand, they actually had, it was kind of a brief day in the sun, but they kind of had one when they put out that LP on Neat, and yeah, I think songs like The Gates of Gehenna got some play. That's on here too, on this 4-track, which is their first one, as well as Back in the USA and Starship Sentinel, which I always think is going to be that MC5 tune, the one where like they gave Sun Ra a partial songwriting credit or something like that somehow. I wasn't ever quite clear on how that worked, but anyway, it's kind of cheesy. You have the like Earth, Wind, Fire, and Air signatures, but goddamn if this isn't an awesome record. It rocks. It's not as heavy as the full length. You know, if you want Cloven Hoof at their heaviest, you pretty much got to go for that self-titled on Neat. Although I've never heard the later ones, so I may be missing out on something. But this one's just cool, and it actually also has that like just the right amount of amateurish sound. It's more rehearsed than say Parallettes, but from a production standpoint, it's right in about the same place. You know, it has a very sort of homemade sound to it, and just fits right in with the scene from that standpoint, to the degree that a scene existed. I mean, I realize it's a little bit sketchy. I think I showed this one in an early video too. This is the Bitches Sin, No More Chances 12-inch. This is actually probably my favorite record of theirs, because I think they were kind of a spotty band anyway. Their 7-inch on Neat I thought was really good. Their first full-length I thought was pretty much crap. But I used to have it. I actually got rid of that one, the one on Heavy Metal. And then the one that King Classic did later on, Invaders. That one's actually really pretty solid, and some of these songs appeared on there. But Yeah, Ice Angels, No More Chances and Overnight. It's very good. It's something. This is about a 7. Speaking of 7s, this is about a 7. Could I find fault with this record? Yeah, I could totally find fault with this record, but I don't really want to, because it's a cool record. It's probably the best thing they did. It's just the right length for a Bitch of Sin record for my taste, and what can I say? Here comes another one of my all-time favorites. So this is a fucking best thing ever. This is the Sweet Danger 12-inch by Angel Witch, and this is actually on EMI. There's the back. It's pretty plain. Here's that good old EMI logo that's actually identical on my copy of the first Iron Maiden. Believe it or not. 3 songs, all of which are perfect. It's a heavier version of Sweet Danger than the other one on the album. There's like a little bass intro at the beginning, and the whole thing just rocks harder. Hades Paradise and Flight 19, I think, are 2 of the best songs. And, personally, I think that Angel Witch, I think it'd be going too far to call them overrated, because, they are Angel Witch. It's not like we're talking Def Leppard here, but I think the album relative to the other stuff is kind of overrating, because I think a lot of stretches that thing kind of drag a little bit. And I think most of their best stuff appeared just sort of scattered all over the place, like Baphomet on Metal for Mothers. You take this record, you take Baphomet off Metal for Mothers, you take Extermination Day off Metal Explosion, and you take a couple songs off the LP. I can even take a couple songs off the other 7-inch. I'd stick Loser on there. But that would be a perfect record. As it is, I think the other one kind of loses its focus a little bit. I don't know if it's production or what. I do like that record a lot, too. It's about a 7, that fucking Angel Witch record. But I don't think it's like the stellar, like, magnum opus that it's made out to be. I think this is. Another little story about this. I actually sent away for this from Britain, and this is maybe the only record I've ever ordered, out of probably thousands, that actually got opened by customs. And so I love the idea that some hapless customs agent cracked this thing open to make sure it wasn't drugs and saw this cover. That's just fucking hilarious image to me. So I hope it scared the bejesus out of him. Alright, and finally we've made our way through the alphabet to maybe the worst band name of the lot, A2Z, because they're from the UK. If they were American, it'd be A2Z, right? Fucking terrible, terrible band name either way. Dude, I think this band is kind of mediocre. I wanted to like them. There's nothing wrong with No Fun After Midnight. It's kind of like a mid-pace, I don't know, for Def Leppard I suppose it would be a good song, but for something I want to listen to, it's, Treason is awesome. The first song on the B-side. Valhalla Force is kind of back to cornball land a little bit. They made a full-length, a live record, which is normally an effort that I kind of applaud, the idea that your first album is a live record. And some bands have done that to great effect, like the MC5 off the top of my head, since I just mentioned them a minute ago. These guys, they managed to put a live album that just sounded fucking anemic and boring and pretty much crap across the board. I'm being hard on it. It's not bad. I'd probably give this record a 6. I'm rating shit more than I used to. It's on red vinyl. I give the red vinyl an 8. But I give the actual, what it sounds like, about a 6. It's fine. And then I'm going to tell you something right there, too, actually, because all these records, I would sit here and go, on this record. But a bad record's like a 5 or a 6. And that's kind of what's cool about all this new wave shit. Now, there are some really bad new wave British heavy metal records out there. I've heard some shit that's fucking god-awful. In fact, I've heard some shit that's god-awful, and I've gone and looked up prices on it and seen $400 for a 45. Fucking crazy shit. If anyone spends that kind of cash on that fucking shitty-ass Mean Streak 7-inch, along with that $400, they'll throw in a pistol and a bullet so you can just fucking get it over with right away while you're listening to that fucking piece of shit of a record. Mean Street, man, played it right. That song sounds like fucking, it sounds like After the Fire doing a Tough Darts song. It's the worst piece of shit I've ever heard. But that's as long as you kind of are a little bit judicious with the shit, most of the stuff is eminently listenable and really enjoyable, and even the bad records kind of make you go, oh shucks, I really kind of like these guys even though they kind of suck. That's kind of how I feel about A2Z. That's kind of how I feel about Ethel the Frog, another band I don't really like. I still goes, oh shucks, I really kind of like this record, even though I really wish they hadn't covered Eleanor Rigby on it. We'll get to that later, I guess. But yeah, so this is really, it's you can see why this stuff became as popular as it did, because the stuff is relatively obscure. There's some big shit to hook you in. There's the Iron Maiden and the Def Leppard and the Raven and the Venom and even Witchfinder General, but you can just sort of keep peeling that onion and keep going and going. And as long as you stop before you get to that green core in there, it's just fucking hours and hours of enjoyment. I've been collecting this stuff for like 15 years now, and I'll still grab shit that looks good, so I haven't exhausted it yet. So thanks for watching. Who the fuck knows when the other parts are going to come, if ever. Actually, let's check and see. It did turn my tongue a little bit blue. This shit. Here. I think it's embarrassing, right? So I'll just fucking throw it out there for y'all to enjoy. So here. That's pretty blue. I'm going to crash out after I do this, so we'll see if it's still blue in the morning. But thanks for watching, and next time the soda is going to be a different color, and next time it's probably going to be an entry into Lee Noise Spectrum's contest, but we'll see. Till next time, take care.